All right, man, peace. So it would appear as if Mr. LeBron James is at a turning point in his career. He reminds me a lot of Mike Tyson after he lost to Buster Douglas, and that people still respect him and his overall ability, but the fear factor is diminishing. And every time he continues to lose in the big spot, the fear factor, the intimidation factor, which is an extremely important component to a dominant athlete, to anyone who is in a position of dominance in whatever field of endeavor they partake in, is starting to dissipate from Mr. LeBron James. And that oftentimes is the difference between winning and losing a close series. Like, for example, in 1988, the Pistons were better than the Lakers. But the reason why the Lakers were able to win the series was not only because Isaiah Thomas hurt his ankle, but because throughout that series, the Pistons were not quite sure how good they were. And they were facing the vaunted Lakers. LeBron is in the position right now where he's still respected in regards to being an individual great performer. But the respect that he receives in regards to his ability to lead a team to a championship has dissipated across the NBA. Now, Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman are going to talk about a situation where Draymond Green has appeared to quote-unquote troll LeBron, which he's been doing for the last 3 years or so, 4 years or so. 3 out of the last 4 years, when the Warriors have won the championship, Draymond has decided to troll LeBron. But this year seems a bit different. As I've stated in other videos, I believe that the NBA is ready to cash out on LeBron. They're going to give him one last stretch with whatever team he chooses to sign with. And after that, they're going to start ushering him out. It's almost time for him to exit out of this play. So anyway, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
We got a lot of good stuff to get into. I need to start with Dub Nation here, guys. Out in full force yesterday, and Master Troll Draymond Green had more on his mind than town business. Wearing a t-shirt with a familiar fist adorned with 3 championship rings, the 3 he won against who? LeBron. Now keep in mind, back in November, James posted the Arthur Clenchfist meme on his Instagram with the caption, "Mood." Many assumed he was showing his frustration with the Cavs at the time. LeBron, by the way, though, started the troll job wearing an Ultimate Warrior tee on a flight home.
No, actually, Draymond started the troll job after they won the first title. And he started talking about Cleveland? Nope. But LeBron took it to a whole other level when he started to troll the Golden State Warriors with the Ultimate Warrior t-shirt, so on and so forth. It is what it is.
Stephen A. Smith, has LeBron lost some respect in the NBA?
Let me say this very quickly. Once again, I think that LeBron is viewed like how Mike Tyson was viewed after he lost to Buster Douglas. He's still someone that you have to take seriously, but he's not a serious threat right now. He's not a real threat in the big matchups, in the finals. Now, can he do something to change that narrative by signing to a team where he's going to show that he's willing to submit to a great coach like a San Antonio or a Boston? Who knows?
I think so, but not as an individual. And here's what I mean by that. Nobody's questioning the greatness of LeBron James and what he individually brings to the table. But the level of fear that some of the all-time greats have is not something that he instills. You know that he's going to get his numbers. You know that you cannot stop him. You know that individually as a talent, he's the greatest in the world. We concede that. But the flip side to it is that whether it's the drama with Kyrie, some of the changes that took place with the roster, the belief that to some degree he had something to do with the dysfunctionality that raked through this franchise. Because remember, Max Kellerman, when Dwayne Wade arrived, prior to Dwayne Wade's arrival, LeBron James was in. He ingratiated himself with everybody. He was incredibly tight with everybody, and everybody seemed on the same page. Through no fault of his own per se, because obviously Dwayne Wade is a champion class personified, not to mention the fact that he's a 3-time champion and has a big brother relationship with LeBron James. When he comes innately, you simply can't help the fact that they're so tight that their relationship is head and shoulders above anything that anybody else had going on with LeBron. So as a result, because of it, what happened to JR? We can't blame LeBron per se for what happened with JR, but clearly JR's drop off, his lack of focus, his willingness to do what it took, the level of consistency that was simply absent from his game, etc., etc. You had an awful lot of people that pointed to that and looked at LeBron and how J.R. Smith was at one particular moment in time and how that changed once Dwayne Wade arrived. So,
Stephen A. Smith, you said a lot there. You said a lot and you really didn't say much. To be quite frank with you, one of the main reasons why you'll oftentimes notice that so many of LeBron's teammates don't seem engaged is because they're not engaged. They're not really a firm part of the offense or the defense. And they're not confident that LeBron James is going to hold up his end of the bargain on defense. Look at how plugged in they were in the 2016 finals in those last 3 games, when they saw that LeBron was willing to play at both ends of the court and when Kyrie was there. One of the major elephants in the room still is that many of LeBron's former Cleveland Cavalier teammates who are currently still on the squad are resentful at the fact that Kyrie Irving is no longer there. It's obvious that Kyrie was far more popular than many people may have originally estimated. He was most likely far more popular than LeBron James estimated. LeBron believes that just because he's the best player on the team and he likes to emit this energy of being gregarious and a people person, that all of his teammates are going to like him the most. Kyrie seems very much more natural in regards to his interactions with his teammates, a lot more sincere. And that may have endeared him more to his teammates than it has LeBron James. There's little doubt about that because there was a report during the finals while the Cavaliers were down 3-0 that one of the players on the team stated that if Kyrie were still here, we'd be up 3-0. And it's not that difficult to figure out who it was because you only have 3 teammates still on the Cavaliers that were on that championship squad. And that's Tristan Thompson, J.R. Smith, and Kevin Love. And J.R. Smith has a soul tie to LeBron, so you know it's not him. Kevin Love tries to play nice with LeBron, so you know it's not him. It has to be Mr. Tristan Thompson because Tristan Thompson has been the teammate of LeBron's on the Cavaliers who has not been shy to speak his mind in regards to what he feels like LeBron's deficiencies and shortcomings are. He's been one of the few players who has noted the poor level of defense that LeBron has played, and he also has not been shy in barking back at LeBron when LeBron tries to bark at him.
So if you're a Golden State Warriors squad, recognizing that LeBron is the best in the world, but understanding one man can't beat a team, and you're pointing to some of the things that have taken place with this squad throughout the last year, you're looking at LeBron and you're saying, yeah, you're the man. Yes, you're the best in the world. Yes, you're one of the all-time greats. But where does that get you without a team? Folks have more confidence in having a team-oriented environment elsewhere than it's perceived as LeBron being able to have, particularly because of what transpired in Cleveland over the last year and a half or so.
Not just the last year and a half, Stephen A. Smith. Once again, the media narrative over the last 15 years is that LeBron James makes all his teammates better and that every great player in the league wants to play with LeBron James. There's no precedent for that. The only truly great players that he's ever played with, he pretty much forced himself on. And that's Dwayne Wade. He went over to Dwayne Wade's franchise so that Dwayne Wade could teach him how to win. And then he pretty much decided that he was going to come back to the Cleveland Cavaliers and utilize Kyrie Irving's talents to assist him in winning another championship. Kyrie never stated, I want LeBron to come back. As a matter of fact, the sentiment that he put forth was the opposite, which is that he wanted to lead a team to a championship. He was in the midst of improving that Cavaliers squad before LeBron James came back. And he was the difference in the 2016 finals, not LeBron. Because LeBron has actually had better performances in the finals with the Cavaliers than that 2016 performance. The reason why they won was because of the litany of issues that befell the Golden State Warriors down the stretch of that series, and also the transcendent play of Mr. Kyrie Irving. Kyrie was the difference, not LeBron. I'm not saying that Kyrie was the best player in that series. I'm not saying that he necessarily deserved the MVP award. But I'll put it like this. He definitely was more deserving of the MVP award in the 2016 finals than Andre Iguodala was in the 2015 finals over Steph Curry.
Half or so, and that's what I'm pointing to.
Stephen A. Draymond talks cocky anyway. That's the type of dude he is, and I love him. And he's a great player. So he's going to talk cocky regardless. I don't think that indicates that LeBron's losing respect. Look, I'm going to get to your fear point first. LeBron was never feared like MJ. He's not quite as good as MJ. And he doesn't have that same attitude as MJ. Let's leave MJ out of it.
I also think that the players around the league who play on elite teams understand that the LeBron James system cannot beat them. When Michael Jordan came into your city, you knew that not only was he the best player, but they also ran a great system for that team. That's what truly made them unbeatable.
He's not quite as feared, I don't think, as Kobe Bryant. Because Kobe Bryant might be the greatest difficult shot maker who ever lived, and LeBron doesn't like instill the kind. Kobe gave you the sense that no matter what you did, it's not that he really was better at the end of games than LeBron, but he gave you the feeling that no matter what you did, he might still hit that shot, no matter how many guys are on him or anything.
Well, we knew he was going to take that shot. That's for damn sure.
He might just beat you. So Michael, MJ, Kobe instilled fear differently. Larry Bird was a better smack talker than almost anyone except for maybe Jordan, right? And he could kill you a million different ways. Those guys may have instilled more fear than LeBron James at any point in his career, even though he's better than a couple of those guys.
No, the only player that you named that LeBron is better than is Kobe Bryant. He's not as good as Larry Bird, and he definitely is not as good as Michael Jordan.
Guys, in my opinion, we're talking about respect here. You know what the ultimate respect is? Because talk is cheap, believe me. And by the way, we should know. It's how we make a living. Talk is cheap. Let's look at people's behavior.
I don't think my talk is cheap. Speak for yourself.
No, actually.
But go ahead.
No, Stephen A. Smith, actually, you do believe that your talk is cheap. That's why you're content with staying on ESPN, even though they basically treat you like a little boy. Whenever you say certain statements, either on camera or off camera, that they disagree with, they can penalize you, they can slap you on the wrist, and you come back like a scared little boy. When you have the notoriety at this point to form your own radio station, or at least to have your own channel on a radio station, for you to come on some type of social media platform and form your own channel. So you don't believe in yourself as much as you try to act like you do, sir.
That's a good point. But let's look at people's behavior.
Then have your ass working damn 20 hours a day. ESPN be having these dudes out there like slaves, like crack holes on the corner.
Behavior here. It's easy to troll LeBron. What does that cost you? You got nothing invested, and that doesn't cost you anything to troll a dude on Twitter. Not when you were on a 73-win team and added KD, and the only reason that happened is because LeBron James beat you when you didn't have KD. To me, that tells you all you need to know about actual respect. After that, you know how it is, Stephen A. They're crewed up. Of course everyone feels cocky. I'm not saying Draymond wouldn't feel cocky anyway, and maybe be a little disrespectful anyway, because what I just mentioned, maybe the absence of a MJ-level fear, and also that's just who Draymond is, a confident dude. But you mean to tell me 73 wins, MVPs, All-Stars, and you add KD, now you feel real cocky, right? Okay, that means that LeBron's losing respect. The behavior says...
Well, Max Kellerman, here's what's wrong with your theory. Once again, the trolling from Draymond started in 2015. The trolling from Draymond started before they got KD. And the issue with the dissipation of respect or regard or fear, quote unquote, that the entire league has for LeBron James is that they're realizing that, number one, he's on the other side of the mountain. Despite how dominant he still is offensively, eventually he's going to fall off of a cliff, as you would say about Tom Brady. That's also going to happen to LeBron James. I don't care what he's taking. I don't care how much he works out. Eventually he is going to fall off of that proverbial cliff. And beyond that, the elite teams in the NBA understand that there's no way that one great player who's playing in a system that pretty much is devoted to making sure that he's the only player that gets to shine should beat a great team. One great player is not going to beat a great team. I don't care who that player is.
That the reason they exist as they do is because of respect for LeBron James. I don't think he's losing respect.
Well, listen, let me say this. In fairness to you, I understand what you deduce based on the information that's out there. You're philosophizing, and I get that. I understand it, and I don't think you're wrong. But I'm giving you the kind of things that I've been told. So let me just be honest with our viewers and be honest with you about where I'm coming from. I'm not speculating. I'm not talking to you about what I perceive to be the case just because I'm watching something from afar. I'm in locker rooms. I'm on the phone with players. You see me get text every day, and I'm telling you right now, one of the knocks against LeBron, despite his greatness, is that people look, when you're around LeBron, there's him, and then there's everybody else. And as a result of that, sometimes it's problematic. Now, Max would say, well, you know what, that's their problem because this brother's earned the cachet that he has. I'm here to tell you I agree with you, but it's a reality that LeBron is going to have to deal with when he thinks about his next destination, because all of these things play a role. What you're able to get out of the people around you is something that he's going to be judged upon.
Well, the reason why he's going to be judged upon those criterias or that criteria is because he refuses to divest the appropriate amount of responsibilities to his teammates. He wants to be involved in every component of the team and then sit back and say, oh man, everything is on me. He has a martyr complex, and it's a major issue that I don't think he's ever going to be able to overcome. He pretty much is his own biggest enemy, and that's why I state that he's suffering from an abundance of riches. Sometimes a person can be too talented for their own good. They don't know what they should be concentrating on. I mean, what's better? A role player who understands his place on the team, or a superstar who does not understand exactly what his limitations are?
Because you're no longer going to get away with, oh, well, he's the greatest and he's carrying this Rat Pack bunch on his back, and you got Max Kellerman going off on the parts that are surrounding him. And
Stephen A. Smith, let's be for real. Basically, you're acting as a mouthpiece for Kobe Bryant and maybe even Michael Jordan, because those are the two main players that you're talking to who would have intense criticisms of a LeBron James. Maybe even a little bit of Isaiah Thomas mixed in there, who may have given you his actual opinions of LeBron off of television, where he's trying to push LeBron as being better than Jordan to just snip at Jordan. But other than that, you're acting as a mouthpiece for Kobe and Michael. And I believe that what you're saying and what they've told you is accurate.
And how they're absolutely nothing. Well, at some point in time, somebody's going to look at you, if you're LeBron James, and say, you got 6 NBA Finals losses. Aren't you tired of that narrative? LeBron James carries
before you jump in, let me just say one thing quickly, though. As far as his beef with Draymond Green, I think this is all in good fun. They're actually friends.
It's all in good
He
fun.
has that uninterrupted network. He chose Draymond for content for it. The one he dissed was Tristan after the game, Draymond. He didn't shake his hand.
It is all in fun.
That was legit.
I want to address what Stephen A. just brought up. Hold on. I want to address what you just brought up, Stephen A. I would never compare my contacts in the NBA to yours, because I've seen it firsthand. People are blowing you up on, your phone up all day. Everyone, executives, players, I get it. I also, however, talk to people in the league, players and executives, and officials, etc., who sometimes get in touch with me, and sometimes I'm in the locker room and I hear from them, and I hear some of the same things that you are explaining now. I take it a different way, though. Look, let me start by saying, do I know what you mean and what's underneath it? Yes, I do. I detect the same sort of thing. But mostly what I hear is resentment. Mostly what I hear is jealousy or envy. That's most of what I hear.
Well, it depends on who the source is of the commentary that you're referring to, Max Kellerman. I believe that Stephen A. Smith is referring to other elite players who are already retired, who have accomplished more than LeBron in regards to winning, and are rather disdainful that the modern liberal sports media is more concerned with concocting and perpetuating narratives to make LeBron James more successful than he's actually been, than they are with holding him accountable. Now, if you're talking about the average Joe Blow around the NBA who could be jealous of a LeBron, then yes, you're making sense. But I don't believe that that's the perspective that Stephen A. Smith is speaking from.
Here. And to me, the respect part, they can talk and say they don't respect him because he diminishes people around him, or it's said it's all his show and he wants to control the narrative. Certainly,
all that is true.
That is out there and people are buzzing about it. But the bottom line,
people are buzzing about it. I've been talking about that for the last year and a half on this channel. And a lot of you mainstream lame brains on television are finally starting to catch up.
Line is, Draymond was crewed up. Yes, he got suspended. You call it a stimulus package. Listen, if you're goaded into a technical, it's not like that was so egregious you're out. It's that he had that many technicals.
I agree with that. Draymond Green failed his team. His stupidity and his inability to control his bitch energy hurt his team down the line.
If a team has a guy who's a little bit of a loose cannon, that guy's got to walk the line. Draymond didn't quite, and he got suspended. And were the Cavs a little lucky to win? Yes. Nevertheless, they won. And that precipitated the move from KD made to Golden State. So what I'm saying is, in behavior, I see the respect. People can talk to you, to me, to whomever else. They can talk amongst themselves. They can send out tweets. And that all seems disrespectful of LeBron because maybe some of his behavior is losing their respect in that way. But the bottom line is, their actual behavior, that shows me they respect him plenty. They may not fear him. They may feel cocky when they're crewed up, but they respect him.
Well, Max Kellerman, if you're talking about respect and you mean players' regard for his overall ability on the basketball court, of course, how could you not respect what LeBron James does on the basketball court? I don't think that that's the issue. I believe that certain players who are already retired, whose legacy has already been set in stone, once again, if LeBron James is going to be mentioned as the greatest player of all time, then there are things that he should be aspiring to. There are standards that he should be held to. That's the main issue. It has nothing to do with how he's graded or evaluated in comparison to the average player in the NBA today. When we talk about LeBron James, we're not talking about whether or not he's definitely the best player today. He's put in 15 years of success and greatness. When you mention LeBron, you mention him in accord with Larry Bird, with Magic Johnson, with Wilt Chamberlain, with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Tim Duncan, etc. Those are the names that he's mentioned alongside. So many of those former greats want to make sure that if you're going to let LeBron James into that club, that he's able to fulfill the parameters for getting into that club. That's all. It's nothing personal.
But wait a minute, Max. Nobody's implying that they don't respect him. How can you not respect the greatest player in the world who can do things that most humans simply can't do? Of course you respect him in that regard. What I'm saying is that if you are an opponent, it's almost tantamount to saying, let him get his 50. We got the rest because these brothers ain't here with him. He can't maximize whatever potential they have inside of them because they just not vibing with him for one reason or another. And as a result, you're not worried about those other guys. And what I'm saying is, when that reality happens, at some point in time, the respect isn't enough. Of course, he gets mad respect. When the season's over, y'all meet in the off season, you got the greatest player in the world, who, by the way, is also respected because he's the richest. None of these players make as much money as LeBron James.
I believe that LeBron is respected not only because he has the most money and he's made the most money, but he's shown other players in the NBA the way in regards to making sure that they put themselves and their family first. Once again, that is truly LeBron James's greatest contribution to the overall psyche of the average NBA player. He brought that into the NBA, and that's a great thing that he did. But once again, in regards to his respect and his esteem around the NBA, it's mostly about how he's viewed by other great teams and how he's viewed by great players who are no longer playing. That's where his respect overall has dissipated. In regards to average teams or weak-minded teams, they're going to revere him and hold him in high regard. And that's why he does so well against those teams. Teams that don't fear him and run a real system, they're going to beat LeBron 98% of the time. 98, 99% of the time. With that 1 to 2% being if your major players are hurt or if they get suspended. Or a bounce of the ball to Ray Allen. That's about it.
None of them can sit up there and write a $100 to $200 million check right now in their sleep. They can't pull that off to the level that he can. So you got mad respect for LeBron the individual and what LeBron has been able to accomplish. But in the end, the level of fear, part of the reason he doesn't instill it because of his MO, part of the biggest reasons he doesn't instill it is because of the effect he has on the pieces around him. If you aren't bringing people together, then guess what? You're not accomplishing your goal.
Well, Stephen A. Smith, what are you finally starting to acknowledge? What is it that you're finally starting to admit, sir? It seems as if you've been hit with a series of revelations about LeBron James over the past few months, because you're finally starting to say the things that I've been saying for a very long time. That is that contrary to the narrative, contrary to popular opinion, LeBron James is not a team-oriented or a team-first player. He's someone who believes that the focus should always be about him, that his teammates' sole purpose for living and breathing is to make sure that they serve the king, and that's him. It has nothing to do with making sure that he can bring out the best in his teammates. It's making sure that his teammates are putting in their best effort to make him look good.
And in the end, you might be the king, but somebody else is wearing the crown. It's now 6 times and counting, and that can't be ignored. It is all in fun, Molly. What Draymond has mad respect for LeBron James, as does every other player.
Yeah, I
but
just
you
wanted
ain't
to make
worried
that
about
point clear.
You're not worried about him.
I find it interesting that LeBron, whose talent could have easily isolated him from the rest of humanity since he was 15 years old, but has instead brought people with him along the way. Not only guys he grew up with who pulled their weight. You have to. It's not a free ride. You got to pull your weight.
They all pulled their weight. All of them. Especially Maverick and Rich. Absolutely.
Of course. He's brought them along, and people he met along the way that have proven themselves. He's brought them along, and teams with inferior talent, he's brought them along. He's a pass-first guy. Some of the problem with him.
Allegedly, he's a pass-first guy. We know that Max Kellerman, Shannon Sharp, Nick Wright, Colin Cowherd, they like to go on their LeBron James soliloquies to show their obeisance to him and his greatness, their pseudo-homoeroticism. It is what it is. One thing that Max Kellerman stated that certainly has substance and is true is that LeBron has done a great job of bringing his people along with him, and that's a wonderful thing that he's done. He also does great things for his community. But in regards to his overall appeal in the NBA, this notion that he's a player that makes everybody better, no, that's not true. Once again, I liken him unto a Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain put up great stats. But when you think of Wilt, even though he led the league in assists one season, do you think of him as a person that made his teammates better? No, you don't. Even though he did, and LeBron James does make his teammates better to a degree and from a certain perspective, and that when you're on a LeBron James team, you know that you're going to have a deep run into the playoffs. It's just a matter of, do you enjoy being a prop, a piece, or do you actually want to be an actual contributor? That's the conundrum that many of LeBron's teammates have to deal with, and that's the difficulty in playing with him.
Then people think, because compared to MJ and Kobe, or even Bird, who was a pass guy but also a killer, he does.
Larry Bird was not only just a pass guy, he was a better passer than LeBron James. He was a better shooter than LeBron James. He was a better free throw shooter than LeBron James. He was a better rebounder than LeBron James. The only thing that LeBron has on Larry Bird is that he was a better defender one-on-one in the early part of his career. And Larry Bird actually made second team all-defense a couple of times in his career. His defense is a little bit underrated. He's not as bad as they make him out to be. But at peak levels, he was better than LeBron James. LeBron is obviously a far greater natural athlete than Larry Bird. But in regards to basketball IQ and understanding of the game, no. Larry Bird is above LeBron. Larry Bird actually knew how to play in a real system, and he knew how to bring out the best in his teammates.
He doesn't have the killer instinct they do. That was the knock on him for a while. It's interesting to me that guy, whose talent didn't just isolate him the way Jordan was bitter in his own Hall of Fame speech, the way Kobe...
I don't think that Michael Jordan was bitter in his Hall of Fame speech. I just think that he was showing you who he was. He was just showing you that he's focused on being a competitor. And he kept it 100. A lot of these players don't keep it 100. They want to act really magnanimous on camera and off camera. All they want to talk about is who they felt was overrated and who they felt they were better than. Michael Jordan in his Hall of Fame speech kept it 100. Or at least as close to 100 as he could have. I believe that there was a lot more that he wishes he probably could have said, but he couldn't say it on camera. Especially when it comes to Isaiah Thomas.
Kobe sometimes isolated himself. That guy is now being accused of not bringing cats in and along with him. It seems to me that he may not be Bill Russell as a leader or someone like that, but compared to his two immediate predecessors, MJ and Kobe, he seems to bring guys along.
All right, guys, let's wrap it up here soon.
Hold on, Molly. Don't be befuddled by that for 1 second, though, Max. It's one thing to bring your crew along with you and allow them to spread their wings and shine. It's another thing entirely to bring teammates because...
Totally agree, sir. Thank you. You're getting there, Steve. You're getting there. You're almost ready to open the proverbial door or window the whole way and let all the light in. Good job, bro.
Because what it comes down to is that there's a divide. There's a difference between your crew and the cats that you love and the cats that you work with, that you just don't mind working with. There's a difference. And LeBron James seems to epitomize that. There's a difference between his boys and Matthew Dellavedova is rare. Guys. There are cases, but for the most part, this year especially, that wasn't the case.
Thank you, Stephen A. Smith. Yes, and the real duplicity in LeBron James, and I think the reason why there's so much bitterness from many of LeBron's former teammates towards him is that he does a very good job of making his teammates believe that they're his friends. And you see this all over the place, whether it's Mario Chalmers or Boobie Gibson, Mo Williams, J.R. Smith, Kyrie Irving. There's just too many of LeBron's former teammates who seem to have quote-unquote hurt feelings about how they were treated by LeBron, because he tries to make them believe that they're his friends when they're just his teammates, and when he's done with them, it seems as if he cuts things off and tries to shit on them. But I mean, it is what it is. Peace.